Well, let's go to London now and speak to Thomas MacManus, the director of the International State Crime Initiative and a senior lecturer in state crime at Queen Mary University. Thomas, thanks for joining us on this news hour. Do you think that Assange's now eventual freedom, has it been a win for press freedom, or has it really come at a heavy cost?
Well, it has come as a heavy cost. This is a huge win for Julian Assange himself and his family. But it has come at a cost, and a win for the US in that they have used the Espionage Now Act against journalists for the first time. And this is the message that they wanted to send, I think, to the world, that if you reveal the crimes that we had been denying up to that stage and you produce evidence for it, then we're going to come after you for doing that. And so having this prosecution on the table is a message now for all others who are thinking about revealing the crimes of US governments and their allies. So it is a huge win for Julian Assange and for his family. But unfortunately, now we have the precedent of the Espionage Act with no First Amendment defense in the US being applied. And I think that should be of a concern to anyone who values a free press as a part of democratic and international global society.
Yeah, because that then leads to the question of how is this going to affect journalism in the United States, and not just in the United States. As you say, press freedom across the world, because it's not just journalists, it's whistleblowers who now may be afraid to come forward lest they face the same fate that Julian Assange has been through for the last 14 years.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think it's what we've seen from the US in the past few years, going after anyone who exposes their wrongdoing. And you can see it in the way they treat the ICC as well, the International Criminal Court, a defined court for looking into the crimes of states. You can see from the response of the US that they find any kind of accusations or investigations into their own crimes to be criminal in itself. They have charged Julian Assange with a criminal offense for revealing their crimes that they had been denying up to that stage, and then were no longer able to do so. So but I also want to point to what would be a political win as well. We have Julian Assange. We watched him land very recently in Australia and walk free. He is now free of the US justice system. And so in a way, there's a win there, but the US did retain the fact that they have this precedent now on paper that journalists can be prosecuted on the Espionage Act. And this is new, and this is very concerning.
Very concerning indeed. Julian Assange himself, though, for so many years, has been a divisive figure. Besides the espionage charges, he was also accused of putting the lives of Afghan civilians in danger, Iraqi civilians. Is there then also that fine line of journalism of exposing what governments have been doing and then still protecting the innocent lives at stake here? It's a very difficult balancing act.
Yeah, it is a difficult balancing act, and that's a balancing act that journalists across the world make all the time. They have to think about their own journalistic ethical framework and their own compass to do that. And so we have to think about the public interest of all this information, and anything that Julian Assange released was shown widely across the world on all journalistic outlets, as far as I remember at the time, and so was considered to be important enough to take some of the risks that you're talking about. And also, I haven't seen, and I'm not aware of any solid evidence to show of any harm caused by the information that was released by Assange. And that is something that actually came up in court in his plea bargain, that it was accepted by the Department of Justice that they also had no evidence to that effect.
And it's still very interesting that considering all those risks that he took, those crimes or alleged crimes that took place in Iraq and Afghanistan, no one has ever been held accountable for them. Thomas MacManus, really good to get your take. Thanks so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.